Your head. Go with that. Ow! Keep still. God damn it.
Holy balls, guys. Welcome to another E3 edition of the Punch-Out Podcast. This time we're going to talk about the Sony conference, and holy shit was there things to talk about. Tons and tons of things. And we're just going to get right into it. We're not going to pussyfoot around. Well, actually, first I'm going to ask you, how did you think of the conference?
You know I'm always going to ask at the end what the grading system was, but girl.
We'll start it now. Fuck it. We'll go
girl.
over.
Really? You want to do that?
Yeah. What is your grade for the conference?
Oh, man. I feel weird breaking continuity. Anyway.
That's fine. It's our last E3 video, so... oh, wait. We're going to make a Nintendo one, but we're going to save that for next week.
Yo,
fuck
Nintendo's
y'all.
really going to be us just shitting on Nintendo. Anyway, so if I had to give it a grade... Here's the thing. I want to give it a B. All right? And I'll explain why.
I'm not giving you any judgment.
No. But I'm just saying, I want to give it a B, right? I want to give it a B only because, although they did show a lot of stuff, I don't feel like they talked enough about it. Usually I hate talking. I hate when they spend too much time like, in this imaginative world, you will be able to explore new and exciting adventures with you and your friends in cooperative play. You know, like
Ubisoft.
Yeah, like normally I hate that stuff, but I do like, especially with the games that they showed where it was just like trailer, like cinematic trailer. I kind of would have liked a little bit on some games, like for example Resident Evil, where it's like, yeah, it's gonna be in VR, and it's also going to take place in XYZ, or blah blah blah, or something more than just it's gonna be in VR.
But they did one better than that, though.
Can you shut up and let me finish? No. Can you let me finish, though?
Can I finish?
Can I finish? But anyway, and that was my only sour note for it. But in my heart of hearts, I think it deserves an A. And the reason why I think it deserves an A is because it was still exciting. It was exciting from start to finish. I enjoyed seeing God of War. I enjoyed seeing the orchestra. I enjoyed seeing even the presentation of the screens. Hideo Kojima made me jizz a little. I screamed when they showed Resident Evil 7. Like, I was excited. And then at the end, when he comes out and he's like, just before we leave, we want to show you. I was like, I don't know why everyone's Ubisoft to me, but before we leave, we just want to show you this one thing. And I was like, what do you mean before you leave, man? This show just started. Like,
it's funny, is because we said it too. It's like the conferences that we are like bored out of our mind now. They just drag on and they never end.
Dude,
this one was like trailer, and it's been an hour and a half already. And we're like, whoa, wait a minute.
It's like,
it hasn't felt like that, though. I will disagree with the Resident Evil thing because I think they gave us one better, where it's like, no. You guys will have a demo tonight. They did the PT with Resident Evil. Essentially, that's what they did, with the exception of name-dropping what it was.
Then let me rephrase what I said. I didn't name-drop Resident Evil because... Resident Evil specifically. I name-dropped it because that's just an example of a lot of the stuff they showed where it's just like, oh, let's hear a little bit more. Okay, nothing. Like Kojima's, for example, is like... oh, here's Kojima stuff, and then he was off the stage. Here's this. Okay, they're off the stage. Here's this. Okay, let's move to the next thing. Like, I understand they can't say too much because a lot of this is really all in development, but...
that's what happened at the end of that conference.
Yeah, at the end of the conference...
it was like 2 dates, 2017,
in development
for everything else.
And sure. And like I said, that's the only reason why I would give it a B.
This headline made me laugh.
But I mean, like I said, in my heart of hearts, I do want to give it an A because it was just so entertaining and so fun to watch.
This is true.
It was very different from their typical conferences where they have a lot of slides
Fluff.
and
All that fluff shit was gone.
it was just straight up video like
just all PS4 games.
dude, he barely said shit. Like when you think of their script was just bare. It was because there's nothing to say. It's just
It was
she'll
like-
show you shit.
Tribute to the Orlando folks. Games. We
Yeah.
develop new games. New
Welcome,
journeys.
guys.
That's it.
Here you go.
Trailer after trailer after
Anyway,
trailer.
so what would you give it, my friend?
Oh, I'm giving it an A. I'm only giving it an A because it's not only, these are not the only reasons, but this is I think the only conference that got an audible yelp for me 2 times. The one for Resident Evil and then the one for Spidey,
Yeah.
where I lost my shit. It was like,
Oh no, it got 3 yelps from you, except it got 3 yelps and a
oh, we'll talk about that in a minute. That you know what? I was so excited to, like, for me, I don't want to talk about it. So I'm gonna give it an A. I'm gonna give you because I didn't get disappointed by anything except one thing.
That
but
I think
then
everybody was disappointed about.
I thought about it though, and I was like, it gives me an excuse to be like, oh, I'm buying these Skylanders for my niece. More on that in a minute.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start off. I'm gonna do the typical rundown how I did it.
Yeah.
First off, we got a orchestrated performance. We were like, oh, I wonder what this is for. God of War.
Yeah, it's God of War.
But
no doubt.
a new take on God of War. We're gonna be fighting Norse gods.
It's not. Well, the thing is also is like it's not only a new take, but it's new. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
it is
it
actually
looks
new all
new.
around,
It
yeah.
feels new.
It's a pretty game.
I'm glad it wasn't like, oh no, it's just Kratos with like fucking a bear pelt on him.
Fucking bitches.
Yeah, it's like no, it still feels like that kind of God of War feel, but it's like no, this is Kratos. He doesn't have no blades of chaos. He's a fucking Norse guy. There's a little kid running around. Like it still
Teaching
felt
that kid.
yeah, like it still felt like God of War, but felt different and new and fresh.
Kind of felt bad. 'Cause towards the end of that trailer, he wanted to show the kid a little bit of emotion. Like, don't worry, like you'll get it. But he's like, no, you fucking kill that dude.
man.
He's like, there was a lot of testosterone and bromance in that between a man and a child.
Unless Kratos is now. Yeah, you know what? I'm not gonna say it.
Some move. I don't know. Next up, we got a trailer for The Last Guardian. We showed a little bit more gameplay. There's a second bird thingy flying around now, and it means 2 times the heartache.
There's a lot of interesting news about that too.
Which front?
Oh, not on like rumor or anything like that. It's just gameplay wise. How the creature that's with you is pretty much his own independent AI. So there are times, well, like there are times where you're playing the game and he'll just fuck off. Like he'll just go off and do shit, and sometimes you'll have to stop what you're doing to try and catch his attention, and it becomes almost like another like a mini game almost, where you're not like mini game in the sense of like do the rhythm game, but like, oh shit, he's walked off and I don't know why he's walked off. Should I continue without him and hope that he comes back later, or should I try to get his attention? And then sometimes you'll have to take a separate route just to get his attention and then move from that route with him. It sounds tedious, but from what I've been hearing, it's actually really interesting. An interesting mechanic to play with.
That looks interesting. I look forward to that. Also, it has a release date, October 26th.
Yeah, that's right. We finally got a release day. Holy shit, yeah. That's right.
I felt like I was watching the trailer and I was sitting down and I was like, it's the same like kind of show again. We've seen this. We've seen everything you could show us about this game. When is it going to come out? My wishful thinking, I thought they were going to go, and it will be available right now. And then everybody fucking flips out.
Dude, Bethesda spoiled us, man.
Yeah, and then when that date finally came across the screen, and it was a reasonable date, like this fall for holiday, and I was like, I'm okay with that, and I'm excited. And it seems like this fucking fall, winter, there's gonna be a ton of games, and this is the first I think holiday season for me where I'm like, there's a lot of shit I want to play, and like I'm like, okay, I want to do this, I want to play this, and I won't have the money for this or that.
Nope, now's the time to get GameFly.
And especially now that I'm going back to school. Fuck my life.
You're going back to school?
I didn't tell you that.
No.
E3. Breaking news.
Oh boy. Well, goodbye, Uptown Strangers.
No.
It was fun while it lasted.
Who knows?
It's the last
Who knows
time
when
I work
if I'm
with
going
that
back
guy.
to school. I'm gonna
Producers,
work that shit
they
out.
come and go, but a good
The
time
next
you play
trailer that came up was Horizon Zero Dawn, which they showed off more interesting kind of gameplay towards that for a game that's been delayed again. What did you think of it?
Oh shit, that was loud.
Sorry,
What the fuck was that?
What? Sorry, it was so loud that it jarred me. What were we talking about?
Horizon Zero Dawn.
You know, like, as somebody who plays a lot of Dark Souls,
Fuck is he?
where you're dodging enemies and doing different things, it feels like more of the same, where you're just like, oh, it's a really big thing. All right, well, let me just fucking run away from it until I can shoot it, and then run away from it until I can shoot it. And I have to see a little more other than that little preview, because so far it just seems like an open world game with stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
It was interesting because I think to an extent where, you know, the obviously Dark Souls gets the bad rep. I'm gonna drop my phone again. Dark Souls gets that bad rep for being like super uber hard and ultra hard.
All right, new deal.
And I think for this, like, somebody will see it, like a casual person will see it and go, oh, this looks pretty interesting. I'll pick it up and play it. And they'll have their time with it, and they'll go, oh, this is something like the Dark Souls games that people are playing, except it's not that difficult. So I can see people picking it up just on that merit. There was something else, but I'm going to talk about it later. Then we get that trailer, the VR trailer. They start talking about VR, and we get that first horror trailer where you get up, and we were like, fuck, this is not going to end
Yeah,
well.
like, is this going to be PT? Is this going to be Kitchen?
It was Codename Kitchen.
Yeah,
which
Codename Kitchen.
Codename Kitchen turned out to be Resident Evil 7 or Biohazard. I hope they just scrap the 7 and just go Resident Evil Biohazard. I'll take that. Give us both names, both English and Japanese.
Oh, it'll totally just be 7, unfortunately. Or maybe, who knows? They'll give it an official title.
That whole game's going to be available in VR, which, fuck
You know how
me.
scary that shit's going to be, dude? I don't know, man. Like, I know they did state that they wanted to go, they were hugely inspired by PT, and they were like, we want to go back to that kind of, like, horror element and stop with the action and shit, which, fuck, man, do it now.
People are going to, like, fall over and, like, break their neck. They're like, oh my god.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, I don't want to do it, I want to see it, I don't want to.
But it's weird, though. I don't know. I couldn't say it's weird, but as opposed to, like, I've never tried a VR headset, so I can't say this, but just that feeling of when, like, something turns you around in the game, like, will you forcefully, just because of what's going on in front of you, just, like, move your head and go and, like, fucking start flipping out and breaking shit? Because I can't wait for the first round of, like, VR injuries, sort of like that first wave of Wiimote injuries where girlfriends were getting punched in the face
Yeah.
because their boyfriends let go of the controller.
You know, honest, before we get too into the VR stuff, I just want to say this going in. The offerings from PlayStation for their VR way stronger than the shit that was initially announced for Oculus and Vive. But continue.
No, it's a great point that you bring up, because I've been kind of... Remember, like, when we were watching the Ubisoft stuff earlier, and I was like, oh, like, this is it. This is the fucking stupid VR shit we're going to get.
Yep.
Where everything
Fucking
is
birds
dumb,
flying.
and
It's like, alright.
and it's shovelware, and it's everything we're going to get. And I was just like, oh, I can't stand it. Like, no, this is not what I wanted VR for. And then Sony went, Brendan, relax. They put their hand on my back, and they were like, hey. They started petting me softly. And they were like, look, Resident Evil. Oh, okay. Look, Batman VR, which I don't know what that's all about
we don't
yet.
have no idea what that shit's going to be about. Maybe you're going to just be the detective man.
I hope it's not like a rail shooter.
Dude, no. What should be detective mode, the game? Like, where you're just looking around like, you
That'd
put
be
the
weird.
coffee down.
That'd be actually really, really, really weird.
And then Star Wars.
Oh, man. Criterion. Brendan's Criterion prediction finally came true, but it wasn't anything that we thought we were going to get. And it was funny, too, because we were talking about it in EA yesterday. I was like, maybe they'll show something off in one of the other conferences. Hopefully they'll show off something in one of the conferences. And they did. Turns out they're working on a Battlefront expansion, but with every fighter. I don't even know, because I didn't know it was called, like, TIE Fighters or something.
No, it was called, I don't remember. But,
like the X-Wing mission.
yeah, but pretty much it's X-Wing. Like, it looks like X-Wing, like the original X-Wing
Just
game.
gonna put a fan
and
in
TIE
front of my
Fighter.
face and be like,
I'm doing it, Dad. Well, there's no air in space, so you know.
That's true. Well, no, the air conditioner from my ship, from my X-wing. There's air conditioning in an X-wing.
Why would you have air conditioning in an X-wing?
Because if you're fucking suffocating in there, it's hot. You have the helmet on.
That's it's comfort. It's not the luxury of an X-wing pilot.
I'm gonna Google that. Do X-wings come with air conditioning?
Oh, look it up, man.
You know what? We're gonna look it up right now.
You know that power is important when it comes to those little babies. They're meant for speed. Unlike not the A-wings are really more meant for speed. But
Let's check it out.
Does the X-wing have air conditioning in its cockpit? Yeah, cockpit. Bet you it doesn't, and I told you it's why. If I told you once, I told you twice. Chinese food and Chinese rice. Oh,
I'm getting our stupid.
it's okay. I'm cutting all this out.
No, that's fine. You can leave all this. I'm getting just stupid things. Comment below if you have proof or definitive proof that in a fictional series that the X-wing cockpits have air conditioning in it.
Cockpit.
Anyway, so moving on. We also got. I'm trying to think. Final Fantasy also is gonna have.
Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy 15 is gonna have
15.
VR support. I was like X support.
Like chocobo racing and driving and fighting bots. Oh, and we also got
Chocobros.
Our first in-depth look at the most repetitive shooter in the world, Call of Duty.
You know, did you see the beginning of that trailer?
No, because I was too busy getting Fresh Direct. But yeah, I heard you guys saying like, "Whoa, it looks pretty good."
It was interesting. If you watch the trailer, it looks different. Like it didn't look like Call of Duty until he got out of the cockpit and started walking around the ship, and I was like, "Okay, this is Call of Duty."
Yeah, but you know that like 90% of the game's gonna be that.
I hope it's that air. Oh, I hope it's that air battle. That air battle thing was interesting, and it was like it looked fresh and new, and I was like,
well, remember, boots to the ground.
Anyway.
Boots to the ground.
Oh, God. To go back to the VR thing, VR actually has a launch date now of October 13th, 2016, and it is for the retail price we already know of $399,
which is awesome. Pre-ordered, ready to go.
As Promopto. I think that's how you say her name. That's the character you get exclusively for VR for Final Fantasy. Prompto. Yeah, the blonde lady.
You're sure that's... Wait, let me see.
Yeah.
That's not...
We gotta get the hell out of here.
Apparently, that's who they were focusing on with the VR thing.
Yeah, but... Look up Final Fantasy 15, Sid.
Give me 1 second. Okay, my VR. So I'm trying to go through these VR announcements. We got a Lego Star Wars trailer, which was stupid. I didn't. It was out of place. All right, that's pretty much it for those smaller announcements. Now let's get into some of the big stuff. Sony Benz announced their first game. It's a biker gang apocalypse tale called Days Gone.
Yeah, dude. I don't look. Sorry.
Yeah, that's. I think that's the name of the female character.
That's Sid.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's why I'm like, they made a whole trailer for her and everything.
No, I don't know.
That's why I'm like, who the fuck is Prompto?
So yeah, Sony Bend finally revealed their game to be the Days Gone, which they showed the trailer of, and we were like, oh, it kind of looks like The Last of Us. And it did until they showed the actual gameplay footage.
Yeah, until they showed all those things.
And the shit popped off, as the kids like.
You know,
say
I
shit.
honestly half expected them to like at the end say like "Dead Gone" or what was it? Gone.
Dead Gone.
Yeah, Dead Gone.
Days Gone. Days Gone.
Days Gone. So I thought it was gonna be like Days Gone, and then right above it, Last of Us, and I was like, oh, okay, so it's a different story altogether.
No, this one's
this one's fucking some crazy
World War Z.
shit.
Fucking fountain zombies started coming out, and I was like, oh.
There were moments like there was one moment where you were like, oh, okay, finally something that makes sense when he drops the conveyor belt thing, and they just
nope,
they just like flood over it and make a human bridge and then just keep walking over it. It's like, holy shit, this is gonna be crazy.
What's going on? This needs to stop.
I know it was scripted, that interaction, to show like, okay, this guy's gonna go in, he's gonna sneak around, he's gonna find some guy who's gonna make noise, and then you're gonna have to be chased by a bunch of things into this corner where it's gonna be this big dramatic ending. But it would be it might be interesting to know if it's like Last of Us, where you can choose to fight everything, or you could be like, all right, that's a crazy horde.
You might be able to.
And then you fuck up, and you're like, oh shit.
Because that's what in the trailer. I don't know if it's probably again like we said, we don't know if it's a scripted mission or it was a choice. You could have left that guy behind instead of going after him and him fucking knocking you down to the floor. One of the interesting things was that in the Last of Us E3 demo that they did that one year to close out the press conference.
Yeah.
Remember how they made it seem very easy that you could sneak around and attack people and throw bricks? Hey, dipshit! And she throws a rock at his head. I think that this game, just like Last of Us, where it looks easy on the surface, you're gonna fucking play that shit, and it's gonna be like,
oh, of course, yeah,
just like how the Last of Us was.
Because you could, he was just popping shots for out of nowhere and somehow thinned the herd, but like you could tell that. I don't know. I don't know what you can tell, but
I think it was a demo build just for the thing, but.
It still looked amazing just to see all that shit on screen at once.
It's gonna be a clusterfuck. So then that was one thing. The next thing that really got. So I call this the roller coaster moment of E3. In the Sony conference in particular, where we hear the boom, 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 boom.
We get all excited.
And we see the beach, and we see the shadow Crash is back.
Yo, wait, then we see the audience, and we see them standing and clapping and cheering and getting and hollering and screaming. And then
this happens. So as the announcement goes, he's like, "Oh, well, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna bring, we there's no T-shirt this time. Crash Bandicoot is back with the partner of Activision. We're gonna put out 1, 2, and Warped, which is 3, remastered HD." And everybody's like, "Yeah." That's actually gonna be really good though. But I'm gonna talk about the good real quick.
Mind you, they were screaming. Then he said, "Oh, 1, 2, 3 remastered." And then it was like, okay, cool. But there's more. There's more, right? Yeah, and Crash is coming back.
In Skylanders. And the air, it seems like if somebody took the air out of the entire room and everybody was like, uh-huh.
Why are we involved this time?
Sure.
And then even then, people were kind of like, okay, well, you're going to say something, right, afterwards. And then he just walks off.
No. I think, all right, so I think to go back to that, 1, 2, and 3 remasters, that means we're getting all new Crash Bandicoot, reworks of the original 3, which is fine and dope, and I appreciate that. Now, I was telling you this, where the reception of, if you haven't played Uncharted 4, spoilers, one of the spoilers that are on the internet, you can play the first level of Crash Bandicoot in Uncharted 4. It's an Easter egg. I think when people saw that, and plus the hollering and the outcry of bringing the mascot of PlayStation back to the fold, I think Activision took it as oh man, it's a great time to put it in Skylanders. It's like, no. Kids don't want it.
Yeah.
Kids don't care for it.
Kids don't know who the fuck Crash
It's just like Spyro. Like, nobody knew who Spyro was, and Spyro was Elijah Wood. And but in all seriousness, Spyro was a ridiculously fun, awesome game. And then he got the Skylander stream, and all these new generation of kids were like, Spyro's awesome, and he has all these cool characters that we never heard of. And it's like, no, the Spyro game we like is completely different.
Yeah, if you played that, you'd be like, holy shit, it's Spyro. You know what I mean?
It's like taking Mario, right? And let's say 20 years from after the first Mario game comes out, you make an amiibo-style kind of game where you're just collecting different amiibos and stuff like that, which is pretty dumb. Anywho, so, there's that. There's the good and the bad. Hopefully,
or even,
they'll make a new Crash game.
Dude, you could even fucking, you could even throw Samus into that mix. It's like, Samus is a cool character, but when was the last time we had a fucking Metroid game?
You put Samus in a kart racer.
Yeah, and people were like, I don't know who Samus is, but she's really good in this game. And it's sad to see that. It was a little sad to hear just the remaster of older games. And you know what, though? This is kind of a trend I've noticed with a lot of the older, PS1, PS2 titles, where it almost feels like they're just going to remaster it. They're not even going to go through the trouble of trying to, reboot it or make an all-new version, unless it's God of War. But, yeah. And it's usually most of the kiddie games, not kiddie games, but kiddie-looking games that were still really good, like Ratchet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
Well,
Bandicoot.
I hope we get. I hope it. So there's two things that I have left on Crash, and then we'll move on. Number one, Activision is in bed with Sony, so I could see how that finally happened. And secondly, maybe hopefully Activision sees like, look, this is who's buying this game. People want this character, not in this silly Skylanders way that you've created, but let's get him to his original form. Let's give him to an indie dev or one of the in-house Sony indie devs.
Yeah.
Make a new platformer, call it a day, and that's all. So next, the guy from Andrew House comes back on and he's like, we have a special guest who wants to talk to you about something. Curtains go up, and go ahead, you can take it from here.
Did you like? No, Kojima, standing there, comes down off the simulated white staircase, addresses the crowd. People are anticipating, his next project. And what did we get? What was the name of it again? Come on.
Something.
Deadly Strand or Strained or whatever.
You see, the funny thing is that I had the fucking name on the top of my tongue.
And,
oh, boy. Go ahead.
But anyway, so we get this really...
Death Stranding.
We get this really surreal... cerebral kind of like trailer where we see what's his name, something Reedus or
Norman Reedus. We get the Sons of Liberty. What's the fourth Metal Gear?
Phantom Pain.
Not Snake Eater. Go on.
Yeah, why can't we remember this? Metal Gear Solid 4, Sons. No, that's the other thing. Anyway, so we pretty much get this. We get this guy just laying on the fucking beach. It just feels so fucking Kojima, like right from the start. We end up seeing this baby. He's clutching the baby, and then these handprints, and
then it gets all.
It just gets all fucking weird, and then we see this fucking Evangelion like shit flying in the air and. Hovering in the air, I mean.
Sons of the Patriots. I didn't even have to think about it. I got it.
But yeah, like, it screams so Kojima, where, like, it's a short trailer. Nothing really happened in it, but it leaves you going, like...
There's so much to it. Like,
There's so much to think about. There's so much to look at. There's so much to ponder. Like, it's just... Ugh.
The dead animals that are washed up on shore.
Yeah, there's messages everywhere.
The things that are floating in the air.
The handprints
I can't wait till people
body.
Zoom in on that shit and kind of...
And everything had an umbilical cord. Yeah. Even the baby in the beginning had a cord reaching somewhere. He has a scar on his stomach, like where his
cross on his stomach.
Yeah, where the
This is gonna get fucking.
Oh my god, we're going to tinfoil hat mode. Yeah. Let's do it. But yeah, I mean, yeah, there wasn't much said about it, but it's already intriguing. It's already fucking intriguing. And you know what, man? This is why people love fucking Kojima so much, because instead of getting the same fucking raw shooters, like. We're getting a game, you know what I mean? An imaginative game that's outside of the box, and I'm looking forward to it, man.
What I like is that I think everybody felt for Kojima when I guess it all started at the Video Game Awards last year.
Yeah, where he wasn't allowed to show up.
Yeah, where Konami's been like fucking.
Well, it even started before that, dude, because it started with when he started going into the development for Phantom Pain.
Yeah, essentially.
Like Kojima was like Konami was restricting him on a lot of shit that he wanted to do. They
just wanted to out him.
Yeah, and like he wanted to work on other projects, and they were like, "No, you got to work on this, right?"
PT.
Yeah, he wanted to work on PT, and they were like, "No, you got to focus on this." They had their disagreements, and over PT. Apparently, it was over PT.
PT was 2 years ago, right?
And yeah, and yeah, that's when they canceled. They canceled PT, and that was it for him. He was like, "Fuck it, I'm out. Bye."
Yeah, so he comes out and he gets this amazing ovation. Like, people are like, finally, and he looked so happy. Like, he was like, wow, he didn't expect it. To a point where he was like, all right, everybody, calm down. Shh. Yeah. I have a game to announce. And then he led again. He was like, go ahead. And now you can. And it was one of those things where it was like, he stuck it really hard to Konami, so hard, and it's so gratifying
without having to say a damn word. Like
they're like, wow, look at this game, and it's gonna be the game people talk about for a couple fucking months, years, I should say.
Dude, it's gonna be the trailer that people are gonna talk about for ages.
It looks like Silent Hill. Like, it looks exactly like that Silent Hills trailer, and he went. I want a meme where it's like, you mad, bro? Because he was like. So what do you think the game is? I think there's going to be some fucked up...
There's going to be some crazy shit.
There's going to be a lot of shit people are not going to be happy about. SJWs are gonna come. Well,
You think they're gonna
I
go
don't think you can come at Kojima though. Like,
well, that's the thing. Like you can't, man. Like,
Kojima was putting trans
can't.
characters in games before people were in diapers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, the thing that like spoke to me was when he created Quiet. Like, he flat out said, like, Quiet is a sexy character. Like, we created her intentionally to be this appealingly sexy character, like overtly sexy character. And people were like, all right, Kojima. Like,
Do you? This is gonna be a weird comparison. So, you know how in every industry there's this one kind of like, I wouldn't say flamboyant, but interesting and eccentric character. Like, for example, like Shinsuke Nakamura in wrestling, you know, David Bowie, Prince, and Freddie Mercury in music, and the way that some directors are. I'm not gonna say Johnny Depp because he's a fuckboy, but hashtag Johnny Depp's a fuckboy. No, but they, you know, people have these kind of ways of directing movies and whatnot. Does Kojima get that kind of like high praise where he's like the top tier of top tier in the video game industry? He is the David Bowie and your Michael Jacksons and whatever you want to say.
mm-hmm. I of course he is, without a doubt. I mean, he takes his games very seriously. He takes his stories and his worlds very seriously. I mean, if you really sit down and look at his body of work, there isn't much to it. It's a very short list. I mean, in the video game industry, nobody really has a gigantic list, really. But at the same time, even in the short list, it's like these games are memorable. Like, the people talk about these games. Yeah, exactly. Like, they're these really. The video game industry really tries to blend film and video games a lot. And a lot of times they end up feeling too much like a film and less like a video game, or too much like a video game, which makes it a bad video game film. And in Kojima's case, Kojima has been able to make these games feel like a video game, but still feel like a fucking movie. Like, you're just this cinematic epic that you're playing through. And it's that, and even on projects that he's helped on, not necessarily directed or worked on firsthand, but like people who are like, hey, Kojima, could you give me some advice on my game? Those games are good. Those games are really good.
I was gonna say, like, look at Sons of the Patriots. Sons of the Patriots, where you first turn on, and it's like the PS3s. Really, like, he was one of the first ones to tap in, like, besides Naughty Dog with Uncharted, he was one of the first ones to tap into the power of that PlayStation, and you get that really kind of crazy whacked out cutscenes where it's the channel flipping, and you're like, holy shit. And even with the cutscenes, where everybody likes to give that game shit, where it's like, there's a cutscene, introduce cutscene, and it's like, no, but this is Kojima's way of telling a story.
Yeah, and dude, and even outside of that, right? Like, there are people that take their game way too seriously, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But Kojima, not only is he able to say, I want to have a very serious story that covers a whole range of topics, goes around in circles over and over again to the point where you're so confused that you don't even know what's going on, and the main characters don't even know what's going on. But at the same time, when you're playing the game, there are these little Kojima elements that you're like, dude, this is really dope. Like, even from Metal Gear Solid, not the NES version, but you know what? Fuck it. Even the NES version, when he first approaches boss and he's like, I want to make a game where you don't fight anybody. And they're like, what?
Did I tell you I found a copy of that game in the wild?
Yeah, it's not too hard to find.
2 days ago for like $10.
But like, even when like he approaches boss and he's like, I want to make a game where you don't fight anybody and you run away from enemies. They were like, get the fuck out of here. And even to, and even fucking Metal Gear Solid 1. We play Metal Gear Solid. So you can freaking, he has a pack of cigarettes and you're like, why the fuck do I have a pack of cigarettes? Am I just gonna smoke and die? Sure, whatever. And then you smoke and you're like, oh shit, the smoke can actually see the laser beams, the laser tripwires. That's fucking cool. Like, these little elements that are like,
or codes behind cases, not knowing you have to plug your second controller into the second port.
Like, it's and even in freaking Guns of the Patriot, even in that, it's like, there's a fucking iPod. You know what I mean? Like, you have an iPod with music on it, and it's like, what's the point of that? It's like, fuck it, it's Kojima. Like, enjoy the game for what it is. And once you start to do that, you're like, holy shit, there's a lot of shit I can do in this game that's really cool. And that's the magic of Kojima. Like, he gets game design. He gets that he's making a game. You know what I mean? And he's making art in his game. And not a lot of... I don't feel like a lot of game designers have perfectly grasped that yet. You know what I mean? Like, they're either in one of three camps. They're either in, I want to make a video game, I want to make a cinematic storytelling game, or I want to make an artsy game. And sometimes it gets muddied, or sometimes they lean towards one or they lean towards another.
But fits in all the whole diagram of that one.
But like, yeah, man, like Kojima, he's able to find a nice balance between all of it to where you're like, this shit's amazing.
Yeah, no, and
I just sucked Kojima's dick. Sorry.
We all did. Interestingly enough, you know whose name I thought I was going to see at the end of the credits of that trailer?
Guillermo del Toro. I was looking for it.
And I have a feeling that he has something to do with that, because I was like, there's only somebody who's equally as fucked up as Kojima doing that trailer. And I was like, that last effect with all the dead animals and the thing, I was like, that's a Guillermo del Toro thing. I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for this, like, oh, surprise.
I mean, like, dude, it took Kojima to make people scared again. Think about that. Like,
who is the guy that was behind Ninja Gaiden?
Itagaki.
That's all you have to do. It's call him by his first name. What happened to that guy?
He started Ninja Theory. They're making a new game soon.
Sticking fingers in people's mouths. You ever heard about this story?
Yeah.
The intern where he just fucking... Anyway.
But yeah, they're making a new game. It's... They haven't talked much about it. It's like a weird Dark Souls-y kind of game. Yeah, it's...
So you can stop right there. I don't give a fuck. No, I'm joking. So I'm trying to think. Is there anything else that I'm leaving out? Nope. Lego Star Wars. Got that. Oh, Then there's a trailer that starts up. We see the World Trade Center, and right there, I know it. I'm like, holy fuck, it's Spider-Man. And you guys were like, no, it's not Spider-Man. And then I lose my shit.
Oh no, I was gonna make a really terrible joke.
Oh, there you go.
I was gonna say, oh yeah, look, it's Infamous. Third Son.
Ha! That would have been great. No, so it turns out that the rumors are actually true, and Insomniac is working on a first-party Spider-Man title, which is bonkers.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. I mean, did you play Infamous?
Of course.
Mm-hmm. So you already know what you're getting into. Infamous is a fucking not Spider-Man game. It's a superhero game. Like, you're running around doing all this crazy shit inside of a city, except now with with the technology that they have now, and they're able to tap into more of the power of the console. We're going to get like a deeper look into Manhattan. We're going to be Spider-Man swinging around again. Oh my God, my dick.
I got so excited, and it was just I think the loudest I got at all the E3 conferences. Like I said, it's like a renaissance for Spidey this year, man, with his fucking like roles in Civil War and him coming back and him having like 17 books again in the comics sector. It's just like, all right, Spidey, there you go, web slinger. Nice catch. You're not me.
Now you know I'm tired when I'm almost dropping my phone like that.
Pretty much. Pretty much that's it. That was the end of the E3 conference. They didn't show us anything more besides that. There was another VR game that's not really important that I don't have the fucking name of, but it was a VR shoot 'em up, first person shoot 'em.
Oh, the one that was in space.
Yeah, which looked Mars, interesting too, but it was a little wonky at first because it was like,
yeah, it was like, look at the motion controls. Yeah, I mean, it's to be expected.
You sound like David French. Look at this. Where's this? What are we doing?
Yeah, but that was it. I mean, there's really nothing more to say because there really isn't much to talk about. They obviously, as everyone knows, they didn't talk about Neo.
Oh yeah, some of the things that they did left out. Thank you. That was the last thing I was trying to get to. So a couple of things that were noticeably absent, but they said Neo wasn't going to be there.
Yeah, they already said it from the start.
Which is not a bad thing. Naughty Dog surprisingly being absent.
Oh yeah, nothing new from Naughty Dog.
Yeah, it was kind of quiet.
Yeah,
they got most of the Sony. They got most of the Sony. Oh well, Gorilla didn't come out with anything. Those are the people that did Killzone and whatnot. Also missing, and this is something they do every year. They kind of give that like Devolver Digital spotlight.
Yeah, they give the indie game shit.
Nope, just not. And they were like, "Nah, we got one mission, one goal to show you all these games."
You know what else too? which was a little interesting.
Abandoned farmhouse.
Okay, I'm just making sure. Yeah. So another thing that was like interesting because it was just felt like it was missing.
How long did you say this place has been abandoned?
3 years.
Forget it. I don't remember now.
Destiny?
No, not Destiny.
Which was also
Oh,
missing.
I remember now. A lot of these. Okay, so a lot of these games were really like, okay, yeah, being developed for PlayStation 4, but some of them were actually, like a handful of them were actually going to be cross-platform.
I think just Resident
And
Evil.
no, there's more on that list that are going to be cross-platform, but it's just,
And Call of Duty, guys.
but like they didn't really like,
Glad I had my shot.
how do I say it? They didn't really like hit it home where it was like, and Final Fantasy, and like they didn't really hit it home where it was just like, by the way,
Andre?
because you bought a PlayStation, this is what you're getting. Like, although they did say, okay, PlayStation VR, we get it, VR, but I don't know.
Well, you gotta give him some credit. The Spider-Man game, it's one. God of War, Dead.
Is the Spider-Man game just PlayStation?
Yeah, it's Insomniac. It's gonna be an exclusive Spidey game until I eat my words like a month from now, and I'm flipping tables.
And
over.
it's on fucking PC.
Yeah. No, but Spidey, Days Gone or whatever the fuck the Ben
Dead
game is.
Gone or Days Gone. Or...
That
yeah,
Ben
Days
is
Gone.
Ben's a
Days
first
Gone.
party Sony studio.
Oh, we didn't talk about Detroit.
Oh wow! Well, that's a first party, but that game turned out to be something completely different than what they
Yeah.
showed last time around, which was like, you can take that. I don't care.
I care. I like that kind of
I
stuff.
liked Heavy Rain though.
Yeah, you know
That's my thing, like, I
that's
loved
what's gonna
Heavy
kill
Rain.
it for me though. That's probably what's gonna kill it for me because there was a game prior to Heavy Rain that was very, very similar, and I enjoyed it. I actually really liked it, but I'm not you know what the problem is? I'm not the type of gamer that likes the fucking like. There's a million different ways for this scenario because I will sit there and try to find out every single possibility until I find the one I like.
I think I beat Heavy Rain 6 different times to get 6 different possibilities.
do
Well,
that.
lucky we never finished. What's that? Until Dawn.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Until
Whereas,
Dawn has a
like-
fucking 1,000 endings. Too.
Yeah, like you could just come back and kind of doing it over again, Mr. Robot. Rest in peace.
Yeah. He was the killer all along.
But that's it's something that I noticed surprisingly about both consoles press conferences was the lack. I want to say lack there of third party, but the amount of time devoted to them. Where in years where it'd be both conferences would show you the same fucking game in two different sections of it. You know, like Call of Duty got its time, but I think
Yeah, but we got Call of Duty and then we got Battlefield 1. Like on opposite sides of the field.
Oh, but Battlefield 1 was a trailer we already saw.
But still, I mean, Microsoft was still like trying to pinpoint towards it.
Yeah, 30 seconds. You guys, yeah, just fuck it. We want to show off our stuff.
And you know, yeah.
I think though, like I said, had Sony not had the Activision deal that they had, chances are we wouldn't be getting these Crash Bandicoots. And with that, guys, actually I have one more question. Between Sony and Microsoft, who do you think won E3?
I hate that. Between Sony and Microsoft, who won E3? I would have to say, fuck, it's really hard to choose. It's okay.
Can't be
okay.
mad at my answer.
Okay. I already know your answer, but Microsoft only because it's there's a future. Like if I feel a solid future with certain things. Like I to be honest with you, man, I get really hyped for new consoles. So Project Scorpio already it got me. I mean, like it got me. However, I will say that
Andre.
PlayStation or Sony's
Andre.
thingy got me more excited. The games were
Andre.
definitely games that I was like, I want
Andre.
right now. Can I please have them?
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, if I honestly, because of that, I would give the slight edge to Sony if I had to choose.
All right. So for Interestingly enough, though, I think since Sony does different shows throughout the year, and then they have at the end of the year they have their PSX or their PlayStation Experience that they do.
They're still going to talk about Neo before the year's over.
I think at that PlayStation Experience thing, they're going to talk about it a lot.
You know, but there is a big sinking suspicion with me, at least, that Neo is going to come out sooner than we think. I don't think it's going to come out by Christmas or anything, but
early 2017.
Yeah, because
beat Microsoft on the
I don't even think it has anything to do with that. I think they want their VR launch to be super smooth, and I think that there's a reason why some of the VR games that they were showing and they were like, yeah, it's coming out early 2017 is because of that. I think it's going to be because of the fact that they want their new PlayStation to be able to handle some of the VR capabilities or some of just the regular capabilities that some of these games are going to offer. Yeah, it's okay. That's just my theory.
So for me,
my ninja theory. Just put it on the table. There's a table.
I don't know. It's always when I put it down that's when it decides to fall. I'm gonna do the cop out thing now. I don't want to pick a side, so I'm gonna say as a whole, I think game people that devote time to the industry and devote time to playing games and making content and doing all these things, we kind of won this time around.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I say that because there've been every E3 for the past 5-6 years has been like the clusterfuck of like these nasty insults between two companies and kind of like, oh look, we can play offline and you can borrow your friend's games and you can do this and you can do that. And this is going to be exclusive here because we're better and rah, Team Sony, Team Xbox. And it felt like for the first time in a long time that both companies were like, you know what?
You're just going to focus on us and just do what we do.
Or not even focus on us, focus on you guys. Enjoy this.
You know, continue.
Enjoy this and enjoy these games are for you. You know, this VR thing that you guys kind of were hoping that you invest your time and money to. Here's some awesome things. Like, you guys want something new and kind of different. Here's this. Here's that. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, there's excitement.
I was gonna say, yeah. Part of the excitement is like we have 2 press conferences from console makers where it didn't feel like they were trying to push a gimmick on us. You know what I mean? Like, you got to get into Kinect. You got to get into the TV on Xbox. You got to get into PlayStation TV. You have to get into like fucking move sticks and controllers. And this was the first time where it was. Not the first time, but this is one of those times where it's like, no, actually, let's just focus on playing games. And the only gimmick Microsoft really tried to sell us was, well, if you play it on Xbox One, you can play it on PC. And the only gimmick we got from Sony was, hey, these games are available, but they're also going to be available in VR, and these are some also titles we're going to be talking about for VR. But here's some games. Here's all games. So it was like the gimmicks didn't feel like gimmicks because they weren't pushing on us, or they're not gimmicks. They're actually good things. Yeah, man. Now the only thing left is the Treehouse presentation.
Your Nintendo, Zelda, and Pokemon presentation.
Oh man.
I'm excited for some of the Pokemon announcements, but Zelda, I can't.
I mean, I give a shit. I just don't. Here's the thing, man. Like,
let's not talk about it. Let's put a pin on that. I don't know, because we beat up.
We'll
Nintendo.
Talk about it. We'll talk about it for another 45 minutes. That's the problem.
We beat up Nintendo more than they can already be beat up. Sony and Microsoft were like, guys, games, focus on games. And that's the fucking thing that Nintendo was so good at. I don't understand.
Yeah, it used to be really good at that. You're right. Like,
I don't
they used to be so good at that. And then suddenly it was like, nope, we don't have any games. We have Microsoft 2 things for you guys.
Microsoft and Sony out Nintendo. That's the craziest thing.
You know what's sad too about it is that like Nintendo, not only do they not have their own shit to promote, but like nobody's developing for them. Like, they don't have anyone else to promote either.
Ubisoft is.
First of all, Ubisoft can eat a dick, all right? Fuck that steep shit. Fuck all the dumb fucking Division updates. And
that's the way to do a press conference.
What?
You know what? If I could, I would take South Park, stick it in the Xbox conference. Right?
Yeah.
We're going to save stuff from a sinking ship. I'll take Xbox out of the Ubisoft conference, put it in there. I'm trying to think what was good in EA's conference. You take Mass Effect and put it on the PlayStation.
Yeah, I was gonna say Andromeda.
ones.
That's kind of the only.
What was it? Like, that's how bad it is. So
Yeah,
like,
it
I
was
can't
bad.
tell you what the fuck
I
was
mean,
in that
maybe
EA thing.
Battlefield one. Maybe.
I don't know. What opened up that show? It wasn't like Madden. What was the game before Madden?
Maybe it was no.
Holy shit.
EA.
This is bad.
What is EA? What games does EA make again?
I have no idea.
Titanfall.
Oh yeah, Titanfall.
Yeah,
I would
it
take
was Titanfall.
Look, I would take Titanfall if you want, because you need to make it a new install base. Put the Titanfall 2 stuff on the PlayStation thing, right?
Thing.
Let's do this quick game if you have the time. Let's take this quick game.
Let's
We're
do
gonna take things from the press conferences, right? So we're gonna eliminate all the other press conferences and just do Sony and Microsoft.
And you have to divide them up.
You have to divide them up. All right, so Andromeda.
Andromeda. Microsoft.
Okay, Titanfall.
Sony.
Okay.
Although it was a big push for Microsoft in the beginning, I would say Sony. Only because now it's coming to Sony.
Well, yeah, because you got to build that base.
Yeah.
You have to take the sports packages. Whose conference do you ruin? Because all right, I'll make this game fun. So you have to pick the sports things, and then whoever doesn't get the sports thing has to get all the shitty Ubisoft shit.
Dude, I was gonna divide the sports thing. I was gonna put Madden Xbox because bro gamers, and I was gonna put FIFA PlayStation because Euro gamers.
Okay, Battlefield 1.
Battlefield 1, I would have to give to Sony.
You want to give it to Microsoft? Shooters play better on the Xbox.
They do. They definitely do. But I feel like Xbox has the market on Call of Duty. Although it is shifting to Sony a lot. Heavily.
The market for Call of Duty has shifted to Sony.
Yeah, but I still feel like it's a pro gamer. But yeah, I mean, Battlefield is still also more played on Sony, so it's kind of hard to choose. It's home.
Okay. The Star Wars stuff really doesn't matter.
Star Wars stuff doesn't matter. You could throw that in a tire fire.
Ghost Recon.
Wildlands.
Yeah, I'd put it on Xbox.
Yeah, it fits better in Xbox, definitely.
South Park, we said Xbox. Watch Dogs 2.
PlayStation.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's true. They had the first one.
Sony.
Grow Up.
Tire fire.
Tire Fire. With the rest of you shitty.
Nintendo.
Yeah, Nintendo. Steep.
They were quiet.
Tire fire. Oh shit.
We projected on the building across the street from the E3 conference.
You know what? Scorpio. We'll just push it all the way to the fucking last possible second.
And then I'll do this last batch, and then that's it. We're gonna eliminate the Bethesda conference.
Yo, Bethesda could do whatever it wants.
So you have to take the games announced at Bethesda. Where do you put Dishonored?
Andre?
You know what? It's all gonna be one-sided for me.
You're gonna go Sony?
Yeah, Sony.
Well, no. I would do Dishonored on the Xbox because they get the pleasure of doing the Doom VR and the Fallout VR. I would have to move to Sony because they're the only fucking console with a VR system.
With a good VR system. Yeah.
Elder Scrolls Legends and all that other shit can go in a tire fire.
You stick with me.
You can take that, guys. We don't want
I
it.
want it to be good, but it's not.
and Quake on the Xbox because you can play with Windows
Quake
10.
on the Xbox. Yeah, without a doubt.
Okay. I'm trying to think anything else. Nope, that's it. What's one
Prey.
take? What?
Where would you put Prey?
Oh fuck, Xbox because I played the first one on the Xbox.
Yeah, I agree.
I guess since this was because I don't think we're not doing an episode for Nintendo, right?
No.
So all right, I want your biggest surprise, the thing that you're most excited for, and your biggest disappointment.
Okay, biggest surprise, Resident Evil.
Okay.
I wasn't expecting Resident Evil to look that creepy anymore, but it got me. Thing I'm most excited for is probably we didn't hear anything about No Man's Sky. I just realized that
It's coming out in like.
I know, but
fuck! It's not coming out next week.
Nope.
Brendan
So
just got instantly sad.
Thing I'm most excited for would probably be Prey or Dishonored. followed really closely by Hideo Kojima's game because I'm just curious as to what it is.
like?
You like? Thing I'm most disappointed by? Ubisoft. Just Ubisoft. Not even a game. Ubisoft.
Would it be because
Minus
of the,
South Park.
minus South Park?
If I had to pick
Trey and Matt saved their fucking conference.
if I had to pick a specific, are we talking moments or games?
Either or. You could do one
Okay,
for both
okay.
if
You know
want.
what? My favorite moment. You know which favorite moment? Gayfish.
Fish.
Gayfish favorite moment. Now my least favorite probably would have to be Steep. I've never been so bored looking at something before in my life. Steep was boring.
Oh, dude, we like zone. We were all. You were playing Overwatch. I was on my phone, and Daniel was asleep. Like that's how uninterested
bad it was,
we were,
dude. They were showing VR. We were watching Funhouse. Like,
and
that's how bad
we were
it was.
watching people get drunk, and that was more entertaining than fucking that.
Yeah, that Ubisoft conference was.
So for me, I would go. My biggest surprise. I don't want to say the Spider-Man one because I was
You knew it was
thinking
coming.
that was happening.
Yeah.
So I was like, I would go between Resident Evil and. Okay, and I think my biggest surprise was the Ubisoft game that was doing all the Ubisoft tropes when it turned out to be South Park. I was like, that's fucking brilliant. That's great. I'm trying to think. Was there anything crazy in that Microsoft conference? Nah.
I mean, there was really nothing crazy, but it was fun to watch.
You know, the Slim. The Microsoft. Oh, shut your mouth. The Xbox S. The Xbox One S. It was it's surprising. Shut up.
And the biggest disappointment, the S Slim.
I know. Oh man.
The Slim.
I know. Wait, what do you mean the biggest disappointment? Shut up.
Hey now, don't dream it.
Why did this happen to me?
What was your biggest disappointment?
The Star Wars presentation.
Yes,
At the EA press conference.
yes, it is. It is the biggest disappointment.
That was god awful.
You know how it was, you know how you knew it was gonna be bad? Jay Dreaming.
The way that she was crashing, it's
Each and every line.
you know what it looked like? The to be continue video where the cheetah's coming out of nowhere. Oh, holy shit. And the thing I'm most excited about is I guess the slew of games we're getting this year. And the fact that I think a lot of companies are now smartening up to, like, if somebody's going to pay for your game, you might as well reward them for them. And the trend that I like now is that if you buy this game, you pre-order it digitally. They're starting to find that way to separate in-store and online. You know, if you pre-order online, we'll give you the copy of the first game.
Yeah.
So you can refresh on it, where it's like, dope. And I don't have to pay anything extra.
You know what? I take back something. Game I'm most excited to play. What's that game called? The fun one.
Oh shit, that was the biggest surprise.
Yeah, I just forgot about that. Like that. Yeah, I'm so excited to play that more than all the other games we saw because we know it's coming out soon. And
I have it written down here. We happy few.
We happy for you. Yeah, without a doubt, I have to the joy pill.
You know what? It's so much that
I have
like
to
you
play that.
forget, and it's crazy. Like I have a little bit of respect for like the game journalists that do this shit because to retain all that information that you took in today, and I mean that's why they divided up between different people. But it's a lot of shit we took in 2 days, and we're not gonna take in the next day. Nope.
Yeah, well, my friend, it's been a long night.
It's been a long 2 days.
Day.
I get to go to sleep and I'll work for a couple days. Guys, just a little bit of house cleaning. Next week there won't be a podcast because I got stuck working all next week because they fucked up my schedule. But that's neither here nor there. And we'll have some great Brendan birthday stories on the next episode of the Punch Out podcast. With that, on the comment section below, please tell us what was some of your favorite disappointments, surprises, and things you might have wanted to see at E3 but didn't. Also, you know, show other people respect. and go and some love and go watch all their content. There's gonna be a lot of content coming from the show floor. A lot of things that we didn't see in the conferences is gonna be showed off. Like Cuphead, please give us that now, please. And as always, like, comment, and subscribe. Tell Stefan he's sexy. Send him your patties.
Yeah,
We'll take
actually,
that.
I'll take him. I'm
Both
that
male
kind of
and
guy.
female.
Oh,
You gotta take it.
I
'cause you don't know
can't,
who it
man.
is.
I'm not all inclusive like that. I have preferences. All right. Lesbian wouldn't like him if I sent them my panties. Anyway,
I do all the time. 4.
Stefani Dawkins.
And for your friendly neighborhood Brendan man. As always. You know what? Don't even punch back in. This fucking... I've got to go back to work. No, in all seriousness, guys. Go watch E3 stuff.
We are